All right, so I want to explain my process in healing and how God began to deliver me from a lot of toxic emotions. Okay, so I want to first say that a lot of my toxic emotions stem from soul wounds, stem from unresolved trauma and unresolved hurts. Okay, so if you are a person that battles feelings of rejection, insecurity, anger, you know what I'm saying? The wound of betrayal, the wound of deceit. Okay, you might want to watch this video. Before God brings everything together, He wants to heal you as a whole. Okay, so I just want to be open about the things I dealt with. I dealt with anger and I dealt with rejection. Those were like two of the main things that the enemy would always trip me up with. I had a very bad spirit of rage. I was very angry. I would spaz out. I would just go off the handle, and then afterwards I would cry. Okay, and I'm gonna tell y'all how God would begin to deliver me. God would always put me in situations to be angry. Like he would, I won't say but he would allow me to be in situations that would cause me to be angry. And I used to be so mad at God because I would ask God to take it away, and He would never take it away until one day the Lord told me, Raven, I'm not going to take it away. I'm going to teach you how to tame it. And I honestly did not see that happening because I was an angry person. I was the person that you get angry. I'm going to just be honest. I was a person that would cause physical harm. Like I would fight people. But when I became with the Lord, I would always feel defenseless when people would do me wrong because I don't want to mess up with God. So it would put me in a position of feeling defenseless, and it would cause anger. I would cause anger. I would be angry. And this is when I really wasn't familiar with God fighting my battles because I caught a lot of failures as a child. You see what I'm saying? Like I was always almost counted out. You know, I was always mishandled. Like people would mishandle me and it would make me angry. You see? And God waited until I got into my stand to deliver me. You know, when I was with my spouse, I was angry. You know, when he would do things, I just would go off in a rage. And I'm going to be honest with you, I did not know that was a problem because I felt like, you know, if I'm angry, you need to respect my feelings. But no, it's demonic. The Bible tells us that anger does not produce the righteousness of God. It's demonic, okay? So the way that God would deliver me is He would put me in situations or allow me to be in situations that would raise that person out of me. And He would tell me, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And this is when I began to reposition my affections, and I just did not allow my anger to overtake me. I still get angry. If you know me personally, you probably have seen me cut up, right? Because I am human. However, I am a lot better than I used to be. A lot better than I used to be. And God has truly taught me how to tame, because I would just spaz out and then I would be so upset because of what the spirit of anger was making me be. I did not want to be that person. Another thing that God was and still is walking me through is rejection. Now, my rejection is deep, okay? I've always dealt with rejection. And it's like rejection and anger would be cousins. And God would purposely, especially with my spouse, because I dealt with rejection in the stand. I would do what God is telling me to do, and He just would reject me. You know, He rejected me the entire time for 2.5 years, 2.5 years, you know. And the more I was with God, when I was in separation, I felt like God had healed me. But I want to tell you that the real test is when they come back. When they come back, you actually have to put into work everything you learned when you were separated. And, you know, I dealt with a counterfeit situation. And there was some aspects of him that when we did not see eye to eye, I would feel like he was rejecting me. And I just, like, I had like this insecurity. Y'all know, if you know me, I tell, like, insecurity was one of them, being suspicious, you know. And the way that God began to really set me free from it is by allowing me to face circumstances that made me feel like I was being rejected. And a lot of times, the reason why things were the way that they were, because I viewed my spouse from the pain that he caused me. So I was looking at him, because I was always feeling these ways when it came to him. So I only saw him as the person and his issues. Like, I saw him as the deceitful person. I saw him as the person that didn't care how I felt. I saw him as everything that he had portrayed for me to be, you know, during my stand. I did not see him no type of way. I even saw when he was changing, but my mind, it's like my mind was still programmed to believe that he is still this person at his core. I made a live yesterday, and I said, you know, the second biggest miracle was believing that God could change my spouse. And because it was just so bad, and I had seen God move in my stand when it came to confirmations. I'm sorry, I'm not editing this. So when it came to confirmations, I saw God move, right? And honestly, and you know, I would just always see him move in ways that would make me believe that this is what he wanted me to do. So the way that things would happen with the spirit of rejection is things would always appear to be a particular way. And I learned a lot in my deliverance. So I learned that you literally have to guard yourself. You have to guard your gates, and you have to guard your affections, even if y'all are doing good, okay? Because you have to acknowledge where you are emotionally and mentally, okay? The way that God began to deliver me is he would allow me to mess up. I would do a lot of crazy things, but he would always recover me from that and correct me. So my biggest thing is, whenever I felt like he was distant, he was rejecting me, and I felt like he was dealing with somebody else. Like, that was like the main thing. Like, if I ever felt a shift, we could be cool. But if I ever felt like an emotional shift, like if I'm around him and he's really not talking, the spirit of rejection would come in my mind. You know, these are just little things. And the way that God would begin to deliver me is by acknowledging this is what I'm dealing with. Okay. And I would go to God and ask God, well, God, what if he is doing it? What if he is lying to me, Lord? Like, this is a real conversation. Like, God, what if he is actually, you know, doing something or what I am suspicious of? And the Lord would always tell me, this is when you go pray for him. Pray. God would always tell me to pray for him. And a lot of times I was wrong. But I always looked at him as the person who he was, instead of the person that God was working on, you know? I made this video to say that a lot of times, if you're in this place of healing, you have to acknowledge where you are. Do not go and try to function like you're healed when you're not. A lot of times we want things out of season because we think, because we're not thinking about it anymore, we're ready. You know, we think that, because we have forgiven them, you're ready for a restoration. A lot of times you can forgive them and still be wounded. Okay, so if you're in that place, you have to come out of agreement with the spirit of rejection and begin to set your boundaries and guard your eye gates, your ear gates, and be dependent on God, so that God, anything you question, you go to God about. Okay, you go to God about, and God himself will make it very plain to you. Okay, I am a person that messed up a lot. So I can tell you, but the healing process is an ongoing process. It just gets better over time. I pray that this video was able to encourage you, and I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.